Hello, this is the last compound change video that we're going to do. So we've got where we're trying to find a missing percentage change. So we've done where you're asked to find the original, we've done where you're asked to find the number of years or months, whatever it is. And the last one we're going to look at today is finding the multiplier or the percentage. This one is possibly the most difficult. There's a couple of key things that you have to keep in mind when you're doing this. So it's potentially the most difficult, but so make sure you've had a look at the other two first before you watch this video. If you haven't watched them yet, go back and watch those ones first. But let's have a look. So we have this question. You've put £1,000 into a bank account. After 4 years with compound interest, I now have £1,500. What percentage interest did I get each year? So if we go back to the equation that we used to do compound interest, we started with your £1,000 and we multiplied it by your decimal multiplier, which is the part we don't know, and we put it to the power of 4 because it was for 4 years, and it gave us £1,500. Okay, we need to go backwards until we can get what D is, and then we need to unpick from the decimal multiplier what the percentage actually was. But we'll get to that. So the first thing we want to do is obviously move that 1,000 to the side by dividing. So 1,500 divided by 1,000 is 1.5. We need to do the reverse of the power of 4, which is using the fourth root of 1.5, gives us, just grab my calculator, to do this, depend on your calculator, but it's usually shift and then whatever your power button is, so X with the little box, you press that and that gives you the option to change the root. So I put 4, root 1.5 gives me 1.0668, etc. And then because it doesn't ask for a decimal place, I'm going to put 3 decimal places because I don't really want more than 1 decimal place. I've missed a number here. I've missed a 1. Sorry, it's 1.10668. So this, when I round it to 3 decimal, to 3 decimal places, gives me 107. Okay. Now, that's the decimal multiplier, but it's not the decimal. It is a decimal. It's not the percentage. We need to reverse how we put it into the decimal multiplier to get what the percentage is. I hope that makes sense. So if I come back to using X, I had my 100% as my original. I added X onto it, and then I divided it by 100, and that gave me 1.107. I need to reverse that to find what X is. So I need to times by 100, and then minus 100. So I'm doing 1.107 times by 100, and then I'm going to subtract 100 from that answer, and that would give me the percentage. So 1.107 times 100 is 110.7. Subtract the 100 leaves you with 10.7% is the amount of interest, the percentage interest you would get in each year. It's 10.7, which again is very high. It wouldn't usually be that high in real life. But that's it. That's what you need to do. And like I say, those are the tricky parts that people tend to forget or tend to get wrong, is doing the fourth root. And not just dividing by 4. Don't do that, please. Remember to do, it's d to the power of 4. The opposite of that is doing the root. And then this part is taking the decimal multiplier and converting it back into a percentage. Some of you will be able to just look at 1.107 and do that in your head, and that's absolutely fine. But if you can't, remember how you get the decimal. So think of the process you do to get the decimal multiplier and reverse that, okay? So as I have with the previous two videos, here's another question. I'll read it out and then pause the video, have a go at this first on your own before you watch the solution and check if you got it right. So now we have the number of fish in a lake is decreasing by X% each year. Given that the number of fish halves in 8 years, work out the value of X. So a couple of hints here. You're not given a starting number of fish. You're not told how many fish there are to start off with. Pick a number. Pick whatever number you want. Start with a simple one, 100, 1,000, something like that is going to be the easiest to work with. Yeah, so that's my hint. Pick a number. It doesn't tell you a number, so choose a number. I'm going to pause now. So pause the video, have a go at this yourself, and then come back and see if you got it right. Okay, so to answer this, I'm going to pretend or imagine or assume, which is a more mathematical word, I'm going to assume that there are 1,000 fish because 1,000 is a nice number to work with. So if there were 1,000 fish to start with, then I times it by my decimal multiplier, which is what I need to work out, and I put that to the power of 8 because it's 8 years. Now, given that the number of fish halves in 8 years means that after 8 years you only have half of 1,000. So that is 500. No, 500, not 5,000. 500. Obviously, depending on what number of fish you've started with, you're going to half that number to get what it's equal to, so minus 500. And then I'm going to reverse that and get d on its own. So I get d to the power of 8 is equal to 500 divided by 1,000, which is a half, is 0.5. And then to get d, I need to do 0.5 eighth rooted, which gives me 0.5 eighth root of 0.5 is 0.917. Now again, I am keeping to 3 decimal places because I don't really want to have more than 1 decimal place when I put it back into a percentage, and to do that I'm going to times it by 100. So when I times it by 100, my 3 decimal places are going to move up and I'm going to have 1 decimal place instead. And now I need to unpick that and get the actual corresponding decrease. Now again, this is a decrease, so we started with our 100%, we subtracted whatever x was, and we divided it by 100. And that gave us 0.917. To get x in this one is a little bit more complicated because it is a decrease. Now again, some of you will look at that straight away and be able to work it out. Some people will need to use this formula. Times it by 100, so I get 100% minus x equals 91.7. And I need to know what x is, so I'm going to swap the 100, I'm going to swap the x and the 91.7 over. So I've added x and then subtracted 91.7. Whatever that gives me that gives me 8.3. 8.3% is equal to x. So the decrease, it was an 8% it was an 8.3% decrease each year. Okay, and like I say, that we're getting from the percentage multiplier back to the decrease is possibly the hardest part. And if you can just look at the multiplier and work it out from there, that's almost easier than having to reverse the formula. Yeah, but either way would work. Some of you will be able to go straight from 0.917 and work out what that is as a percentage decrease. Some of you might need to unpack the equation itself. I hope that helped. I hope you got that right. Yeah, but I hope that makes, like I said, this is the most difficult part of the compound change, and it doesn't come up an awful lot, but every now and again it will, and you need to be aware of how to manipulate the formula for compound change to be able to work out whatever missing part is missing, and whether that is the original or the number of years or the percentage itself. You need to be able to manipulate the formula in a way that you can work out any one of those three things, which is why I've done these 3 videos. So I hope it helped. Thanks for watching and listening, and have a lovely day.